Hello internet, what's up? My name is Kayla and welcome back to my channel. Today, this time around, I'm going to be doing my least favorite eyeshadows in my palettes. Not every single palette, but honestly probably the good majority of them. Yeah. I think I decluttered a lot of eyeshadows this year, and that's why I'm thinking I don't have as much as I used to, and that's because it's true. I should start with my most favorite eyeshadows, but there are some palettes that I don't have a least favorite in, and so I didn't want to try to like make something up or lie or something. But yeah, so this is a video about my least favorite eyeshadow palettes. With all that said, we're gonna go into this completely freaking random. I want to go a palette with a good amount of color that I just don't like because of something really petty, and for that is the Kristen Dominique Latte palette. The shadow I don't like in this palette is pumpkin spice, because I hate pumpkin spice. That's the only reason why I don't like the pumpkin spice shadow. Pumpkin spice is just, I don't like pumpkin spice anything except for like when they're made into like bread or cakes and they have the cream cheese frosting. That's acceptable, but I mean the shadow itself is like really great quality. I just don't like pumpkin spice as a name, so that's basically all it is. It is a very nice orangey transition shade. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a very beautiful, well made shadow. I just freaking hate pumpkin spice. Let's go into something else I hate. Let's go a drugstore with the Wet n Wild Not a Basic Peach palette. Now, I did rave about this kind of in my back to school makeup bag, and I wanted to be completely positive in that video, which is why I didn't say mentioning this one. But this blue right here, this thing sucks, but I'm gonna dig my finger into this. It's just like this blue is supposed to be the star of the palette. Like, there's a reason why it's in here, and it doesn't do anything. Let me see if I can show you on camera right away. I don't know how well that was showing, but basically there's nothing on my wrist. Like, it kind of just looks like my vein went sideways. So, just not a good quality at all. Let's go into my Morphe Kathleen Lights collaboration palette. The supposed to be star of my Project Pan that ended a month early. But a lot of reasons why I did stop that, and there are a lot of, honestly, because of its age probably, there's a lot of shadows I say are my least favorite, but the one that hurts me the most is this dark green shadow down here. And let me try swatching it. You know what, let me try swatching it so you guys get an understanding of how beautiful this shadow is. There we go. Okay, so this is a beautiful olive dark green shadow. Creamy, just as wonderful it was the day I bought this palette. But the reason why it's my least favorite is because if I put this on my face, fallout. If I have a bad makeup day, if I have fallout on my face, it's this shadow. I have not had much fallout problems ever, but when I do, it's because of this guy. I love you, you're beautiful, but you hurt my feelings and you ruin my makeup days. Let's go back to drugstore. I'm just grabbing things. Most of my palettes are actually high-end because I don't buy a lot of drugstore palettes, and you'll see why. I wanted to love you. Makeup Revolution Reloaded Iconic Division palette. I did, because I don't want to spend money, $40 on the Subculture palette, especially after all the chaotic reviews last year. But you know what? I bought you, I don't like you, and I still want Subculture. What should be the reason why? I think the biggest heartbreak for me, is it like hard panning? Is this like green, shimmery green shadow? Oh, I did my finger into the good shadow. Okay, well, let me dig my finger into this green one so you guys get what I'm saying. First of all, I think it's hard panning, so I'm actually going to even try scraping a little bit off with my nail and see if I can get something good underneath. And if I do, it's going to be really embarrassing. See? Really can't see much. You'll get it up close in a bit, but it's really like, up close, it's glittery. There's not a lot of pigment. Even though like you're kind of far away, like you're pretty much seeing the shadow. I don't mind a lot of glitter in my shadow. If I have some glitter fall on my eyes, that doesn't bother me, but you gotta have the pigment to back it up, and that's what this green shadow in this Division palette does not have, and I still want some culture. So, Modern Renaissance. This is actually my only ABH palette. This is a interesting one because I did film this video before and then it was blurry. It was so frustrating. This video was blurry. And so I watched LS's video where she mentioned this palette, and she actually mentions Buon Fresco. I was like, oh wow, that was a good shadow to pick. I'm still gonna go with my original thing that I saw, and that's Warm Taupe. I don't like this shadow. I don't like the color. I don't know what to do with it. I mean, Buon Fresco is a lighter, is a cool tone shadow. Like, I'll give you that, but I just don't see how taupe is like cool tone, warm tone either. Like, it's just, it's more of a neutral. I don't like this shadow. When I look at the Modern Renaissance, I go towards the reds and the berries and Vermeer. Is Vermeer the one I'm obsessed with? Yeah, Vermeer, that shadow I want as a single because I freaking adore it. But just Warm Taupe, I look at the palette and I'm like, I don't like you. I don't want to use you. I don't care anything about you. I think I tried to use it once or twice and I was like, I don't know. I mean, quality, it's ABH, it's really good, don't get me wrong, but I don't think Warm Taupe belongs in the palette. I just filmed my video, cool classic products I haven't tried. I mentioned the Rock Pro 3. Here it is. This guy. The mattes in here are really good. I really like the mattes. When I was using this palette a lot, I was reaching for the mattes in this palette. There was a good few months where this was my matte palette to go to because the shimmers down here kind of suck. Oh, let me swatch. I'm going to choose two. I'm going to choose two from this palette because I'm going to choose Medallion. Medallion feels really creamy, but it's also crumbly. And creamy and crumbly can be okay if they have pigment. The problem with Medallion is that it doesn't. You're seeing shimmer, not pigment. It's like flaking up in my hand or on my arm. Like I dug my finger in here and just like some pigment stuck to my skin, but it's like still peeling up. That's a double swatch. It's just, maybe far away it looks good, but up close it does not at all. And then I'm mentioning two shadows in this palette because honestly I didn't even think, I was focusing so much on I just don't like you instead of like just of why I don't like eyeshadows in general. So for LS, I am also mentioning Truffle because she has a good point. You know what? You know what? That's just not even good. That's just, it's like, what? Okay, so I just don't like this. Wow, I'm gonna clean up that swatch. I just don't like this shadow, period. What? Like, yeah, there's glitter in it, but that's not the annoying part. It's just like not a true, like, is it supposed to be a true black? I don't know. But either way, I just wouldn't use that shadow. I know I used it before, but after swatching it, no. It's like, it's not dark enough to be a black, but it's not good enough to be a gray. Like, formula, it feels really nice, but, ugh. I don't like that at all. Unless you're right. I'm going to clean up that swatch, because that swatch is a little janky. Let's go limited edition. We have the Urban Decay Full Spectrum palette. I am okay with showing this off. The Morphe Kathleen Lights one was in my project ban, so that's fine. But this is actually still available either on Nordstrom, at Nordstrom Rack online. You get it for $27. I guess it could be worth it for you. I thought this palette was a lot of the mattes, but I don't know if it's because there's so many other glitter shadows in here that the glitter got everywhere or what. But while the black glitter shade Platonic could be a problem, the real problem is Iced. Because it's, again, I hate glitter shadows that have no freaking pigment. I really do. That's the trend I'm noticing. A lot of glitter, no pigment. You just need kind of like an ice kind of I mean, it's called ice, so I guess if the shoe fits. It's all talk, no, it's all glitter, no talk, no pigment. I don't like it. I always think it's gonna be like, whenever I would reach for it, I was like, oh, this is gonna be really cool, like shimmery gray. No, it's not. Morphe, because it's huge, it's here. This is the now discontinued, rest in peace, Morphe 35B. Potentially, James Charles will be coming out with maybe a replacement for this. I don't really know. I don't really care. I'm kind of over the rainbow palettes. Long says Angelica Nyquist. I'm just saying everyone there like. I like my 35B. This, ow, woo, it pinched. This was my go-to colorful palette for a long minute until I sink my money into another brand that we'll talk about. I'm choosing colors that I actually did use and know I don't like, which is like this middle green shade. In the 35B, this is the one below it, so it's darker. This is the one I hate, and this is the lighter one. You can pretty much get this middle shade by combining the upper two. So why did they include it? I don't know. The reason why I don't like it is because A, it doesn't need to be there, and two, up close, it is a mediocre green. It's not super patchy. It does blend out really well, but it's just why when I know whenever I tried to use this green, I always ended up quitting and going to the darker green because it doesn't build up as fast as I need to. There's some colors I know to work with. If I know what I'm doing, I want more pigment and spend less time building up. So this just, yeah, it's just my feelings. Let's go back to my parent trend. Maybe I should make this a game where any video I talk about eyeshadow palettes, I have to mention flamingo somewhere. I didn't in my back school makeup list. Who's obsessed? That's something I don't know why. So before I take a break and figure that out, I'm gonna mention the flamingo palette, and she's Seashell. Now I could point out Sunny's because I don't know why there's a black here. It's a good black though. Sunny's is all shimmer, no pigment. All shimmer, no pigment. Let me see if I can do this. Aha! Oh, I try this again. It is the same thing as Ice. It is the same thing as Medallion. It is the same shade as that limey green thing from the Makeup Revolution palette. It's all shimmery glitter. It's no pigment. Even on my pale ass skin, you can't see it. Okay, that's probably the point. Into the eyeshadow palettes, we're going off to the Tartelette Toasted palette. I was torn between this and the Naked Heat, and I chose this. I really like the quality of this palette. The vanilla scent and Tarte's palettes are so good, and actually, I think this is a really well thought out color story for being pretty basic and neutral. I just don't reach for it. It's not really my vibe. So I'm gonna choose, like, it's my top, your bottom. Sunset right here. And the reason why I'm choosing Sunset is because it's just unoriginal. It's it's this. See that guy? It's a beautiful shimmer in the palette. But Flame and Shimmer, I'm gonna swatch these two actually. Let's just swatch everything. Which finger? Okay, it was this one. I'm doing double swatches just so they stand out because the quality of Tarte shadows, I don't think anyone really knocks the quality of their palettes. It's just like these. So those are like Flame and Simmer are underneath both, and then you turn around to this more neutral base, like kind of gold thing, and it's just not impressive. These are just more orangey finery tones, where this one's, it's just, I think Sunset is just not needed in the palette, and also, honestly, I also don't know why it's called Sunset. I mean, there's nothing really sunset about it, so for me, that's the last favorite. That's my least favorite in the palette, just because I don't think it's needed. That's the Juvia's Place Zulu palette. This is probably my absolute favorite palette. Of everything I have, this is probably number one. Is it? Top 3. I need to play with the Afrique palette even more to decide if it deserves a number one slot. But the reason why I'm knocking this being this palette in is because why is there brown? Why is this in here? What, like, it's a beautiful, now this is a good quality brown, like I'm not knocking that. I just want to know why it's in the palette. with the beautiful bright colors. Like, why? Was there just like a rule? You can still see the shadows underneath. Like, seriously, was there a rule made at Juvia's Place that they had to, or like their manufacturers, like, we can't process this palette unless there's at least one neutral in here? And they're like, fine, we'll lower to brown. There's just so many more options that they could have put into it. I would have really liked to see a white where that brown was. I mean, it's another neutral, but just to have as pigmented as Juvia's Place eyeshadow palettes are, I think a white would have been really good to set a white cream base down to really get some crazy intense color. I would have liked that a lot more, and especially aid in the yellow and orange. That would have made more sense to me than the brown. Good quality. I just don't freaking understand why it's in there. Sweet Peach palette. I really like this palette, guys. I think Late to the Hype, put it up in the cards, Kayla. I think it's a really good palette, and I still think it's worth your money. But again, I'm going to cheat and choose two shadows that I just don't like. That is Charmed and Delectable. This unnecessary dark brown. Is this supposed to be like Charmed? I'm sure is the official name. Is it just there to represent like the tree of the palette? Like, I don't know. And then we have this beautiful Delectable. This beautiful Delectable. We're getting like Halloween themed now. The swatches are pretty good. I'll give them that. But on the eyes, they suck. They are big, freaking, like, even Charmed, I'm sure, isn't the worst. There's a little bit of patchiness, but Delectable, that purple could be so beautiful, so much better than it is. It's not good, especially when you're comparing every other shadow in this palette. I've had this palette for a year and a half. Most of these shadows have aged really well. They're not bad, but Delectable and Chimed, I'm sure, just I'm just saying. You could have done better. I don't know. We're gonna round this up with another Tarte palette. This is the Tarte's Pro palette. This was my first Tarte palette. I've only had 3 and I decluttered one of them. Let me open this guy. I'm always afraid of breaking it when I open this guy. So here this is. And to me, when I bought this palette, I was like, oh my god, it has everything I need. It's so good. And then I realized that I love color and that this does not have enough color for me. This is actually a really good palette. Should I do a link to the hype on this palette? Should I? Okay. So I've been sitting here for a few minutes. Actually, like, I haven't used this palette in such a long time that I couldn't remember what shadow I didn't like. But I know that this guy isn't aging well either. I'm torn because there's 4 shimmer shades, and I don't think any of those shimmers need to be in this palette. Why? Because they're good, but just making it all in that palette. Like, I kind of get where they were going with it and have a lot of, like, I enjoy how there's a lot of mattes and only a few shimmers, but I'm also kind of like, well, why'd you even bother doing it? Oh, like, I'm gonna go with Minx. Minx is this dark shimmery wine. I want to say it's dry for a shimmer. Pretty nicely pigmented. My thing with this is my own personal thing of I don't know what to do with a dark shimmery wine like this, because my mind is like either all over the lid or in the corner, in the outer corner, but then I don't want to build it up into the crease, because usually when I do, it always ends up happening like that anyways. So I don't know what to do with it. It's really easy to duplicate the shadow. I mean, not everyone puts a shadow like Minx into their palette, but I think it's just because I don't, if it was like a lighter, like a rosé color wine, or even like a straight red wine, I don't know my wine, but if it was just even a little bit lighter, I think I'd have a better idea. But because of how dark it is, actually pairs really well with the other shadows on my arm, but just how it doesn't work for me. It doesn't draw me in to use it. I never saw it and was like, I'm gonna use that in eye look. I was staring at it, even myself, I'm like, I don't know what to do with it. Which that leads me to my palette of this weekly makeup basket week, and I can definitely say I don't have a favorite. I have a least favorite in this palette because I've been using it for a minute, and even this palette was hard to do. And I think, see, for me, it's either Chi or Makeda. And it's because I don't think we need both of these as shimmers. I would have much liked to see, you know what, I'm going to say Chi. Chi because I don't feel like it helps the palette as a shimmer. But dang, if that's not a pretty shimmer. Like, that is a pretty freaking I know it's really far away, guys. I'll zoom you in at the end. But it's a beautiful, like, blue color. But between Chi and Makeda, I'm just going to swatch it on my finger for you guys. Try not to flip you off. So you can kind of see, like, Chi is on that finger and Makeda is right next to it on my ring finger. It's a really pretty purple, don't get me wrong. I just think you don't need both of these in a palette, and I think if they made Chi a matte instead of a shimmer, it would really complement the palette.
Wanna be with you now. Wanna be with you now. I took you for granted. What are we to do now? What are we to do now? I don't understand it.
So, that's all the palettes I have. That is it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will be doing the flip-flop of this probably in the next day or so. This video probably will go up first because let's do the opposite. But thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I am at Kayla with a C, Hayes with a Z, Kayla Hayes, on both platforms. Thank you guys again for watching. That's all there is to it. I'm a small little YouTube channel. If you have any video recommendations for me, I still need to do the cat picks my makeup video. Give me some ideas, hit me up in the comments down below, and I will see you in whatever video comes next. Have a good day.